Do you really believe you're free? Think twice. The moment you wake up, your hands reach for your phone, scrolling endlessly, searching for a new distraction. Then comes the coffee, a hit of dopamine, perhaps paired with a short video or a catchy tune to ease the monotony. On your commute to work or school, the stimulation continues our podcasts, social feeds, an endless stream of notifications. And when silence finally arrives, what do you feel? Unease? A strange emptiness that pushes you to chase another hit of pleasure, another distraction. But the real issue isn't pleasure itself. Pleasure is a natural part of our psychology, a tool evolution gave us to help us survive. But what happens when it turns into a trap? When the constant craving to feel good keeps us locked in a loop of instant rewards. Aldous Huxley foresaw this almost 100 years ago. While Orwell feared a future of oppression through fear and violence, Huxley imagined something more subtle and terrifying. A world where no one needs to be forced into submission because they're too entertained, too bombarded with pleasure to resist. In this world, chains aren't necessary. People willingly embrace their servitude. Take a look around. What do you see? A culture obsessed with entertainment, chasing pleasure without restraint, avoiding discomfort at all costs. But what price are we paying for this? Is this constant pursuit of happiness freeing you or quietly imprisoning you? In this video, we'll examine how modern life conditions us to use pleasure as a tool of control and how that dependence might be turning you into something unthinkable, a slave who chose their chains. If you believe you're the master of your mind, stay tuned, because you might just discover you never were. True slavery doesn't require chains or punishment. It needs only one thing, and it's terrifyingly simple: pleasure. When life revolves around feeling good, control hides in plain sight. This is what Huxley depicted in Brave New World. Picture a society where no one questions anything because they're constantly entertained, where the pursuit of meaning is replaced with endless consumption, where pleasure isn't a reward but an obligation. In Huxley's world, people are conditioned from birth to avoid discomfort. If unease or existential dread appears, relief is always close by, a dose of soma, the drug that numbs and calms. But is that really fiction? Look at your own routines. When boredom or sadness strikes, what do you do first? Do you sit with it or reach for something to escape? Social media, binge watching, junk food, alcohol, shopping, sex, pornography, games, the options never end. We exist in an age of instant satisfaction. Any unpleasant emotion can be drowned in seconds with a tap. There's no need to confront the void, just cover it up with another hit of pleasure. And the most disturbing part, it feels like you're choosing it. No one is forcing you to scroll for hours or binge watch shows. No one's holding a weapon to your head demanding you consume. So why is stopping so hard? The answer lies in conditioning. When you always turn to quick pleasures to escape discomfort, your brain learns that this is the norm. Eventually, you lose the ability to be still, to reflect, to tolerate your own company. Without realizing it, you become what Huxley warned us about, a joyful prisoner, controlled not by force but by pleasure. But how exactly does this conditioning rob us of critical thought and trap us in this cycle? That's what we'll dive into next. If this message is connecting with you, hit the subscribe button and support the channel. Thank you. Have you ever stopped to wonder why it's so hard to break free from these habits? Why, even when you know you should be focusing on something meaningful, your hand reaches for your phone without thinking, craving a new alert, another video, another hit of stimulation? That's not random. You've been trained for it. From childhood, we're taught to avoid discomfort at all costs. Schools don't teach us how to think deeply, just how to memorize and repeat. Jobs want productivity, not reflection. and the entertainment industry floods us with endless distractions to keep us from questioning the world we live in. All of this creates a society where the biggest danger isn't a government silencing your voice. It's a world where people don't even care to search for truth anymore. Aldous Huxley saw this coming. In Brave New World, people weren't controlled with violence. They were trained to enjoy their own captivity. From early childhood, they were programmed with sleep learning, messages repeated while they slept, shaping their beliefs without them even realizing. Phrases like "everyone belongs to everyone" and "a gram of soma solves everything" were planted in their minds, ensuring they never questioned the system. They were raised to believe happiness meant staying comfortable, avoiding deep thoughts, and running from pain. Now think about how that mirrors our reality. Today's conditioning doesn't come from sleep learning, it comes from social media, marketing, and constant stimulation that shapes how you think and act without you even noticing. Every time your phone buzzes, your brain releases dopamine. Every time a short video hands you new content without effort, your mind gets used to not thinking for itself. And every time you're rewarded for fitting in, through likes, attention, or instant pleasure, you're taught that this is the way things should be. The result: a generation of people who can't sit with their own thoughts, who panic when they feel discomfort, who never question the system, not because they're forbidden, but because they've forgotten how to think critically. In the end, no dictator is needed to keep people under control, not when they willingly turn away from anything that challenges them. But this escape from discomfort has a cost. When we avoid pain at all costs, we become weaker, more easily manipulated, more fragile. Constant pleasure can numb us, and false happiness can turn us into passive, empty people. So how does this happen? How can a world built to avoid suffering end up stealing our strength? That's what we'll look into in the next part. Picture a world where no one ever suffers, where every bit of pain is instantly erased, where sadness and frustration don't exist. Sounds like a perfect world, right? But look closer. What happens to someone who never struggles? What happens to a society that never allows discomfort? The answer is simple. It grows weak. Huxley saw this trap with chilling clarity. In Brave New World, happiness was guaranteed through soma, a drug that erased all discomfort instantly. No hangovers, no dangers, just pure pleasure. But what kind of happiness was that? It was the kind where no one knew how to face pain or frustration or even their own thoughts. Any unpleasant feeling was wiped out with a chemical fix. Life became a cycle of shallow pleasures, sex, entertainment, shopping. Anything outside that routine was a threat. Now think about today's world. We may not have soma, but we have our own versions. Social media offers constant validation. Dating apps remove the sting of rejection. Algorithms give us exactly what we want before we ask. All of it is designed to smooth out life, to remove any discomfort, any struggle, any need for real effort. But this constant escape from pain has a cost, and that cost is our mental strength. Here's the hard truth. Pain serves a purpose. Pain helps us grow stronger. Frustration pushes us to improve. Facing hard times forces us to change. But when life is made too easy, when we run from every challenge, we end up weaker. Today, even small discomforts feel unbearable. Tiny setbacks feel like huge disasters. Simple disagreements turn into serious problems. We've been taught to always look for the easiest option, the fastest reward, the quickest fix. And that kind of mindset makes us easier to control. People who are strong and used to discomfort, who know how to learn from struggle, are not easy to manipulate. They won't accept being trapped in a system that takes away their freedom. But people who depend on constant stimulation to feel okay, who are scared of any kind of suffering, those people are much easier to influence. They won't resist. They'll follow the rules. They become ideal citizens for those who want to stay in power without needing to use force. That's how the trap is set. What looks like freedom, the ability to avoid pain, becomes our prison. But there is a way out. To break free, we have to see the difference between chasing pleasure and finding purpose. Pleasure can trap us, but purpose can lead us to real freedom. That's what we'll dive into next. What are you truly looking for in life? Happiness or meaning? Pleasure or purpose? It sounds like an easy question, but have you ever really thought about it? Today's world teaches us that happiness is the main goal. But what does it offer us as happiness? Short bursts of pleasure, social media likes, buying stuff we don't need, casual hookups, hours of binge-watching shows, highly processed food that tastes good for a second but leaves us feeling empty afterward. These things give us a quick boost, but it never lasts. That's the heart of the problem. Pleasure fades fast, and if we don't keep chasing it, we're left with emptiness. Now think about the key moments that shaped your life. Were they moments of quick fun? Or were they times when you faced challenges, worked hard, and overcame something? Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, said in Man's Search for Meaning that humans need a sense of purpose to survive. He saw that even in the worst conditions, those who had something meaningful to hold on to were the ones who stayed strong and mentally alive. Here's the twist: chasing pleasure makes us weaker. Chasing purpose makes us stronger. Pleasure is easy, fast, and addictive. Purpose takes work, patience, and the strength to keep going. But purpose builds something inside us. It doesn't vanish like pleasure does. It gives us a reason to live. But society doesn't want you to have purpose. Purpose takes time. It means looking inside, facing discomfort, and building something slowly. That's the opposite of quick consumption. A person with purpose doesn't need endless entertainment. They don't crave distractions every second. And they're not easy to trick with empty promises of happiness. That's why we're always bombarded with noise. Because someone with real purpose is a threat to a system that feeds off our emotional neediness. So if you feel empty inside, maybe the answer isn't more pleasure. Maybe it's less. Maybe the way forward isn't about finding new distractions, but removing the ones that block your clarity. So ask yourself, what truly drives you? What gets you up in the morning? Are you surviving on quick thrills? Or are you creating something that truly matters? But how do we break this cycle? How do we take back control over our thoughts and choices? That's what we'll look at in the next part. Now that you see how chasing pleasure can keep you stuck, the real question is, how do you escape? How do you reclaim your mind in a world that's always trying to keep you distracted, numb, and hooked emotionally? The first thing to understand is this: it won't be easy. The system is built so that you stay stuck. It wants you chasing fast pleasure, giving your attention to the algorithms, and endlessly buying and watching things. But there is a way out, and it starts when you realize what's really going on. The first way to break free is by limiting your pleasure on purpose. This doesn't mean you have to reject all fun and joy. It just means you should learn to manage how much you take in when it comes to addictive habits. Pleasure isn't the enemy, but it's being used to control you. When you step back from things like social media, junk food, or non-stop shows, something changes. Your brain resets. You start enjoying the little things again. The constant craving for fake pleasure begins to fade. The second step is learning how to handle discomfort again. If you want your freedom back, you need to remember how to sit with boredom, irritation, and silence. This means letting yourself be quiet, turning off the endless feed of content, being okay with just being without needing constant fun. At first, it's tough. Your brain will scream for more dopamine, but if you stick with it, you'll see something powerful. Being uncomfortable won't break you. It actually makes you stronger. The third thing to work on is thinking for yourself. Ask yourself, why do I always need to be entertained? Who gains from my addiction to pleasure? What could I be doing if I weren't stuck in this cycle? The more you question, the clearer it becomes most of your habits weren't your own choice. They were shaped by the system. But once you start asking the hard questions, you can take back control. The fourth and maybe most powerful step is switching from chasing pleasure to living with purpose. Like we said before, finding meaning is the real cure for being trapped in short-term pleasure. So ask yourself, what really matters to me? What kind of life do I want to build? What would make my life feel truly worth it? These are hard questions, but they are the ones that count. There's a challenge, though. Even if you start waking up, the world around you will still be asleep. And when you choose to change, people will treat you differently. Some will respect it, others will be annoyed. Because when you free yourself, you become a mirror. You show them the parts of themselves they've been avoiding. That's what we'll talk about in the final part. If you've listened this far, then something inside you is already waking up. You've seen that chasing pleasure endlessly isn't real freedom. It's a trap that keeps you from growing. You understand now that the world doesn't need to lock you up to control you. It just has to teach you to run from pain. But now that you see it, what will you do? Escaping the trap takes more than good intentions. It means going against what's normal, choosing the harder road, accepting that freedom often feels lonely. Because when you stop numbing yourself, you start noticing things. And when you notice, you'll see that most people still live with their eyes closed. Some will admire you for it. Others will push you away. Some will feel judged just by your presence. Because when you break free, you challenge their comfort. They might try to pull you back, saying everything's fine, that life should just be fun. But now you know the truth. Pleasure without meaning is just another kind of trap. So now you have to choose. Keep living the old way, chasing likes, distractions, and little highs, or take back your mind, build something meaningful, and become someone who can't be controlled so easily. But what will you choose? Have you felt trapped like this? Do you see how pleasure is used to keep us quiet? Leave a comment below and tell your story, because asking these questions is where freedom begins. And if this video helped you see things in a new way, remember to like and subscribe. Here, we don't follow the crowd. We ask questions, we reflect, and we look for the truths no one talks about. If you're ready to keep going on this path of clarity and inner freedom, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this is just the start. See you in the next video.